Unless you've been hiding under a rock, chances are you've seen the news about Ukraine and Russia, what's been going on over there. A lot of discomforting news, to put it lightly, coming out of that side of the world. And I was talking to a news friend of mine last night, and I says, you're going to have a really interesting day tomorrow. And agreed with me. Yeah, she agreed with me. Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting day. And I thought when I got into the office, okay, I need to do a video on this. But what do I talk about? I've talked about market recoveries, downturns, how long it takes for the market to recover from downturns historically. Did a whole video, long video on I'm too old for this, and talking about how the things that we've gone through over the past century have been unbelievable, but the market has always recovered from every one of them, and it doesn't take that long for that to happen. But what do you talk about? So I said to my guys in here, I said, I need to do a video. I don't know what to talk about. What do you think? And they're going, I don't know. And I said, you know what? I know what I'm going to talk about. I remember years ago, I would prepare for the radio show in the afternoons. And the show was in the afternoon, then it went to the morning, and it went back to the afternoon. So I'm back in the afternoon on radio. But I was talking about how at one point, I was despondent one day. I was depressed. Everything I was hearing was negative. It was bad news everywhere. And I was looking through the Wall Street Journal. I was looking through the magazines. I was looking for anything that was optimistic, and there was nothing. And I remember just wringing my hands and my wife walking out on the deck of the house and going, "What are you doing?" And I said, well, I got to go on the radio in a couple hours, and I'm seeing nothing but bad news, and I like to be optimistic and let everybody know everything's going to be okay, but nothing looks like it's going to be okay. And she goes, wait a minute. She goes, what do you always tell your listeners? And I said, what? And she goes, you can't predict the future. Yeah, and you don't know what's going to happen, and things always have a way of working out. And I was, yeah, take your own advice. And I thought, she's right. Because if you look at the headlines right now, it's Russia, the nuclear plant, gets hit. What's happening there? Scary information coming out all over the place. So I went out and I looked around and I said, well, there's that, but then there's all these private companies, Microsoft, SpaceX, Airbnb, offering assistance. There's news here talking about how, markets, in Europe, how they've been going down, but some have disappeared completely, like Russia. And that is actually one of the reasons we tell people, be very careful in having exposure to countries that may not protect your property rights. And I'm thinking, well, that's something that we always are conscious of. And this one right here, China declared its Russia friendship has no limits. It's having second thoughts. And then, of course, the news about Switzerland getting involved, and Switzerland never gets involved, and just how people are coming together. But here's the real point. Every time I've ever tried to figure out what is going to cause markets to come back when everything looks dire, I'm always wrong. There has always been something that I didn't expect that happens that causes everything to be okay. And isn't that just the message? Is we don't know what's going to create the comeback. All I know is I was watching something this morning. This guy's talking about black swan events when markets move down a lot really quickly, and he made the point that, hey, look, markets tend to react really fast and tend to often overreact to bad events. And what happens is when they come back fast and furious due to something that nobody predicted. And that is why, when I look at it, I go, okay, you diversify as broadly as you possibly can, and then don't worry about it. Because the reality of it is markets have always come back, and they've come back based on information that nobody thought was coming down the pike. And usually when things look their worst, that's usually when the answer comes. So hope this helps anybody that's kind of worried, a little bit nervous about what's happening in the world right now. You can't predict the future, nor do you have to be a successful investor.